Hello, everyone, and once again, welcome to Hack the Mountains 3.0. On behalf of the entire HTM team, I, Samriddhi, would like to welcome you all to this community based hackathon where we strengthen your skills as developers and to help you perform better in the upcoming hackathon. We are having workshops and webinars, including HTM Qubits. We once again to have with us today our sponsors, Mr. Ayush Ghai, the co-founder at Godspeed, Mr. Ashutosh Tripathi, who is an engineer, and Mr. Samba, who is the CTO at Godspeed. Today, they will be giving us a demo of how to use Godspeed to develop backend. Welcome, sirs.
Yeah, hi Samriddhi, and
Hi,
yeah,
sir.
thanks again for inviting us. Yeah, so yeah, and thank you everyone for joining. So let Samriddhi, shall we start with a little introduction about ourselves?
Yes, of course, sir.
Okay, all right. So yeah, my name is Ayush. I am founder of Godspeed, co-founder, and I'm joined by my partner Samba here, and also Ashutosh, who's an engineer working with us. And yeah, yeah. So
Hey, hi,
basically,
hi.
yes, and yes. So basically, Samba, me, and even Ashutosh, we've been in tech industry for more than 8 years. And if you talk of Samba and me, we've been around for 20 years in the space, including the time we spent in a college. We started learning engineering, like everybody who's on this call right now, right? So since then, we've went through quite a journey where we learned many things as developers, as engineers, as entrepreneurs who went on to make many startups in these years as well. And we worked with startups and also enterprise companies. So in this experience, we've learned a lot. And what we went through in every project is we had to repeat the same work again and again and again. So we wanted to make life for ourselves easier. And that's why we came together, all of us, to make this solution, which would first help ourselves as an engineering team to make all those awesome products we want to make over the years, make our life easier, and we want to share the same with the world. So, what is Godspeed? So basically, Godspeed is a low-code solution for making backends, excellent backends with high quality, just with Godspeed, literally, as we'd say. So you make them on the fly so that you can really focus on your business, on making your user interfaces, on making your front ends, and your work in the backend is really reduced to a large extent. And it gives you great speed to go to market and try out your idea as soon as you want. So that's our goal with Godspeed. And I would like to also invite Samba to shortly introduce himself at the same time, and then followed by Ashu.
Hey, hi, Hal. Yeah, yeah, like Ayush mentioned, actually spent quite a bit of time working for startups, large enterprises. But like it's like a repeating pattern, right? We're trying to repeat the same thing. We're trying to solve the same problem again and again, especially with the backend. So, and the last 20 years, the backend evolved from monoliths to service oriented architecture again to microservices. Now we are in the microservices era. So Godspeed actually as a platform or as a framework, we're trying to solve the microservices problem. How can we simplify the development of microservices or in the entire backend? Okay. So it's a high level, that's what we're trying to solve. So yeah, we once we go through the demo, then we'll try to explain what are the abstractions or concepts behind this framework. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, yes, sure. And
Ashutosh, sir.
Ashu, would you like to introduce? Uh, you're muted, Ashu.
You are,
You're muted.
yes, sir.
Sorry. Okay. So, hi everyone. I'm Ashutosh. I'm based out of Dehradun and work remotely with Ayush and Samba to actually solve a bigger problem which has been faced by many developers. When we are trying to build a new product, and what happens is like you spend lots of time just juggling around to make it work instead of focusing on your idea, and right, you spend first 3 months 4 months just to focus on how to make it, set up this thing, set up servers and everything. right? So when Ayush told me about that he's building this, I was like really excited, and I thought, yeah, this is like something everyone has faced it. Like even I have faced it. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's join and build it together. So yeah, here we are, and
Thank
Yes,
you for
we are
and
going to show you the magic of Godspeed in next 5 to 10 minutes.
okay.
And
exactly.
yeah,
Okay,
Yes,
thank you, sir.
exactly. So
Thank you
let's
for the
now come to
introduction.
the. Hmm.
Ayush sir, since we have already discussed how wonderful Godspeed is going to be for our developers, what are we going to discuss today?
Yes.
okay.
So, Samriddhi, today we are going to show how to make a sample application in 5 minutes.
Oh
So,
my God.
all
Okay.
those participants who are participating in the hackathon,
Mm-hmm.
what they can do is in 36 hours of the hackathon, they can take 30 minutes to make their backend, or even
Okay.
5 minutes if it's a
Mm-hmm.
simple backend. Rest 36 hours, they can focus on making their front end. That's
Wow,
what we're
that's
going to show.
so well.
All
That is
right.
incomprehensible right now, but I'm sure you're going to prove us wrong.
Well, yeah, let's
Yes.
get started with the magic, right? So,
Definitely, sir.
Ashutosh, would you like to get started with sharing your screen and get start with a new project? So, Samriddhi, Ashutosh will now start creating a new project using Godspeed. So, in
Yes,
the
sir.
hackathon, it's like a real experience now. So, this is
Okay.
how developers will go to create a new project. And while it will take 5 minutes for the project to create, we will talk about again just a revision of the architecture of Godspeed and how developers will use it to develop their backend during the hackathon. So, Ashu,
Okay.
can you please share your screen?
Yeah, sure.
And by the way, let me also add that Ashutosh has primarily been a front end engineer while he's a full stack engineer, but
Okay.
he builds user interfaces more. So it
Okay.
is for all the people who are here. Some of them are more focused on building user interface and they're not as strong in building the backend. So for those teams, it is especially a big bonus and benefit that your backend work is done very easily. So even if you are a front end developer, you can get your backend up and running in no time. So you focus on your front end and you can make a whole app for your client or wherever you work in a job, right? Or your
Definitely,
own
sir.
startup if you have your own
Definitely,
startup.
definitely. Okay. So without
So
much
Ashu, can you please
ado,
share your
let's
screen?
start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, let's start. And I would say it is gonna take little more than 5 minutes, depending on my internet speed, because of the things. But yeah, we are targeting it to be finished in 5 minutes. Okay.
No problem, sir. No problem. Please go ahead.
All right. Okay. So, can you guys see my screen?
Ashutosh, we cannot see your screen yet. No.
Okay. I think now everyone can see, right?
Yeah.
All right, all right. So, what will be the entry point of talking about Godspeed? Maybe docs. Okay. So, any framework you use, go to docs. Little introduction. Check the thing. So, I'll directly jump to what exactly like Ayush and Samba is gonna talk about how what exactly Godspeed architecture and everything. I'll be very practical here. I'll talk about what is required to start a new Godspeed project, what are the steps to you need to do, and how to create a new project, and then directly jumping into creating a to do app. All right. So Godspeed is a Node.js based framework. So definitely you need Node.js LTS 16, which is the current version. So if you want to read about what exactly is required, you can go to the setup, getting started. There are few prerequisites. Then the second for our team, the favorite, the code editor is Visual Studio Code, and we don't want to pollute our local systems with so many dependencies for every different project. So we support developing application into containerized environment. So for every project, you create a container and do the development, push it to the production, and then just delete it, right? So your base system is like very clean. Okay, all right. So these are the two prerequisites. Definitely, it's you're gonna store your progress into a Git project, so you need a Git installed, and because it's a containerized environment, so we want Docker also installed in your system. So the four requisites: LTS node, Visual Studio, Docker, and the Git. All right. Let's. So once you have installed all four of those, what you have to do is like you just have to install the magic package from um, for the Godspeed. Very simple. You go, you copy this command npm install. You globally install the mindgrip Godspeed package. Okay, I'll do that. It's gonna take few seconds. All right, done. Let me check if I have Godspeed globally installed with the Godspeed version. I have it. All right, so you are already set to start and creating a new project. So on the web, when you think about any language, any framework, what is the first thing we try to build? And this is the most sold idea after Hello World is to creating a to-do app. Why to-do app? Because it demonstrate the a capability of writing something to the database, retrieving something, modifying it, deleting, searching, and everything, right? So yeah, will be no different, and we'll start with creating a to-do app. So how do you create a to-do app in Godspeed? Very simple. You have installed Godspeed very just now. You create, and what do you want to name it? To-do app, maybe. We'll go simple. Okay. So when you create a Godspeed project, I told you, right? So we are using containerized environment, and you don't have to think about uh, oh, I want MongoDB. How will I install it and all those things, right? I want maybe Kafka or maybe Redis or what. You just have to answer few questions. And like first, when you are creating a new project, the Godspeed will ask you what exactly do you want for your project. So I'm not a big fan of MongoDB, so I don't want MongoDB. Postgres, yes, I want Postgres. Uh, Enter the name of Postgres database. Test is fine, but I can do to-do app also. Default port, let it be default. Do I need Kafka? No, right now, no. Elasticsearch, no. Simple to-do app I want to do. Do you need Redis? No. And default port 3000, yeah, works for me. And then it is asking with which branch, because we are actively developing Godspeed framework with the user feedback, developers feedback. So, and if you want to try out our latest feature what the team is working on, you can always go and use the latest, which is default. But if you want, you can use base, stable, whatever. I'll go with the latest. Let's see. Okay. So this step is going to take a little while. What exactly is happening in this one? I'll give you a quick introduction. So you remember the questionnaire Godspeed asked you while we creating. So whatever the services you have selected, it is gonna download the containers for that, configure those, wire all of those containers together. Suppose you have a database, it is gonna initialize the database with the database name you have chosen. If you have a Redis server, it is going to download the Redis, image, Docker image, start a container, and wire all those things together, and spin up your development environment where, without thinking about anything, you just focus on writing your business logic. So let's see. So yeah, we'll be back in maybe 3-4 minutes. It says it's gonna take 5 minutes, so or maybe less than that, depending on my internet
Yeah.
speed. So I'll over to Ayush. Meanwhile, it is getting downloaded.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Ashu. And okay. So while this is getting downloaded, I would like to just invite Samba, and I would like to share my screen. Can we please share my screen here? I'm opening up the architecture of Godspeed. So for everybody here, right? What is very important is for you to know that if you build any backend today, there are three main things that you are implementing, even if you realize it or not. Okay, this is with so many years of experience that we have, is one, you have events in your backend. These could be synchronous events or asynchronous events, and you have workflows, which is your business logic, what to do when an event is triggered. It could be a REST API call, it could be a GraphQL call. What do you want to do when that event is triggered? And when that event is triggered in your workflow, you speak to various data sources, which is APIs or databases. On, you query those databases, either you're creating something or deleting something or searching something from your DB, right? This is all that we do. So while the app gets installed, the magic is happening. Let's have Samba to talk about, what happens when we build any backend. What are the main components? Samba, can you please share? And by the way,
Sure.
before Samba comes, I would like to introduce Samba from my side also. So, in my entire career of 20 years, and I've been from IIT Kanpur, computer science engineering, and I've been with many genius people of the world, being in IIT and later in the industry as well. Doesn't matter if you're from IIT or not. But, Samba, I would say, is the number one genius that I've worked with. He's a true master in technology, and he's an amazing person to work with. And it is really an honor for anybody who's seeing this video to have Samba on the call and explain. So, yeah, over to you, Samba.
Okay. Thank you, Ayush. Thank you for the introduction. So yeah, let's take a backend. So in 2002, we used to develop backends using monolith frameworks like Ruby on Rails or Django or .NET or Java, Spring Boot, Spring. So struts. There are so many frameworks to develop backends, but most of them are supporting monolith architecture. What is monolith architecture? So generally, it's a three-tier architecture. So there is an application, and there is a database, and there is a front end. So front end is making calls to your application. Application internally making calls to your database. So this is a three-tier architecture, right? So, but it's kind of monolith. What's happening is your entire backend logic is in one app and one database. It's not going to scale. So then people come up with a different mechanism called service-oriented architecture. So what is service-oriented architecture? So they divided your entire backend into multiple services. It's not one app. You can think of it as multiple apps or multiple services. So then front end, then it's going to talk multiple services, right? So then what happened, right? So they introduced one more component generally called load balancer or gateway or whatever you call it as. So front end generally talks to gateway. Gateway internally makes calls to your multiple services. Okay. So that's how the service oriented architecture started. But there also kind of microliths. When I say microliths, they're kind of monoliths only. It's not exactly like a service-oriented architecture. Then they started decomposing little further, and they come up with the new paradigm or new strategy called microservices. So the fundamental principle or fundamental idea behind microservices, single responsibility principle. Okay, in your entire business domain or your entire backend, if you are doing one thing, okay, let's do that in one service. Let's take user management. Okay, let's take e-commerce as an example. Okay, if you see, there is a user management, there is a product catalog management, and after that there is a order management, right? After that there is a shipping and delivery, right? If you see, these are the responsibilities. You have to manage the users, you have to manage the products or catalogs, then you have to manage the orders, or after that you have to ship those orders. So each responsibility generally they implemented as a separate service, separate microservice. Okay, but what this microservices generally providing, they're providing the API, okay, to the front end most of the time. So you will make a call. What is call actually? So if you take, right, any programming language, generally we know about the function calls. You can assume or you can think API also kind of a call. Okay, it's a call. Your front end is making one call to your back end. So your microservice, that microservice will serve that call. Okay, it will understand what this guy is asking, and it will go and get the data from data sources. Okay, data sources means most of the time it's a database, but it may not be database. It has to talk to other service or other microservices or third party APIs, let's say Salesforce, Google, or kind of third party APIs. Okay, that is what generally your backend will do. Whenever there is a request, generally we are calling request as event. Why event? Why can't we directly call in API? Right? Microservices not only serves the APIs. Okay, it will react to events from other microservices also. When I say event, that's what I mentioned, right? Asynchronous and synchronous. Most of the time, your API calls are synchronous calls. Okay, generally from the front end or other microservices using HTTP protocol making API calls. Okay, then what happens after my API call? This is with the workflow. Workflow is nothing but your business logic. We are encapsulating that's one concept or abstraction called workflow. What it will do, it will talk to your data store, okay, or multiple data stores, get the data, do simple transformation and send back the response. That is what your workflows will do. Okay, three abstractions. Event is request, assume that. Okay, and request will invoke your business logic. Your business logic will interact with data sources, either push the data to data sources or fetch the data from data sources and do the simple transformations or aggregation, water filtering, those type of things in your workflow, and you'll send the response back. Okay, this is what we're trying to come up with, this kind of encapsulation or abstractions. You call it as abstractions, right? Event is a request. It's kind of, it will fire their business logic. That's a workflow. Workflow internally talk to your data store or database or third party API or microservice, get the data and send that response back. Okay, but what is the interchange or exchange format? 99% of the use cases it's a JSON. Okay, your request payload is also generally JSON. Workflow will take that JSON and it will also interact with other microservices using JSON, and your data source or data store, most of the databases, then it will use standard SQL or no SQL case is MongoDB, and it's again it's JSON. Okay, that's kind of data interchange format from the front end to your microservice, again from your microservice to other microservices. This is what at high level. So this entire framework, what are we trying to do? We're trying to simplify developing microservices, because nowadays backend is nothing but bunch of microservices. One microservice serving single responsibility, like order management microservice, or catalog management microservice, or shipping microservice, or user management microservice. Okay, each microservice is its own data store or database, and all of them talking each other using either API or using message bus. That's where Kafka. If you'd have seen that Godspeed CLI, we are asking, do you need Kafka or not? That Kafka kind of becoming enterprise bus or message queue, whatever called message bus, message queue. So instead of sending the request directly using HTTP protocol, microservices will create one message and put that message into Kafka. But other microservices can consume that messages. Okay. I think once you see the demo, then it will be clear. Yeah. Over to you, Sosh. Thank you.
All right. All right. So, uh, Ayush, can you stop sharing your screen? I'll get back to my presentation again. Okay. Okay, guys, welcome back. Welcome back after a short introduction. So, yeah, installation is done. I just renamed the To Do app because it was clashing with another To Do app which I have. So, renamed it to the Hackathon. Let's hack the mountain spirit, keep going on, and let's see everything from here. So, okay, so I'll go back. Okay, we installed it. Now what you have to do, you just have to go inside your project directory. CD hackathon, simple, awesome. So once you have VS Code installed, what you have to do, VS Code command, code and dot is like open this particular directory into the VS Code. Done. I think I have, okay, there is only one. Okay, so ignore these VS Code and all those directories. Let me remove the test. So what happens is like when you create a new app, right? All these package and all these files are hidden. Um, then the first thing is what you have to focus on is the source directory, right? Like check the docs, everything, just ignore this, focus on the source. So as Sama and Ayush explained, like there are the three fundamental things of a Godspeed project. One is the data source, where we consume the data from. It can be a database, it can be another API, it can be anything. Then the second is the event. Event is nothing but the outer layer of your backend on which you respond. It can be an API, it can be a Kafka consumer, and the function where you write the actual business logic, what needs to be happened. All right. So this is just an explanation. When you create a new project, this ships up with something, example projects. If you want, I'm gonna delete it. I wanna start fresh. I'm deleting everything, whatever is auto-generated. All right. And then we have a data source, which is because we have said Postgres we want to use. So we want to say, okay, so the once VS Code is there, we want to say that reopen this thing into a container. You will get this pop-up. If you're not getting, you can always go Command Shift P and, reopen. Oh, sorry. You can click on this thing. Here you'll say rebuild container, reopen folder. If you don't get this pop-up. Anyways, once you did this, let's directly go, because we're gonna create a to-do app. I have already copy pasted the to-do app without wasting your time. So let's go through the data source and define a to-do, what exactly a to-do app model will be. So here, what we are going to create a to-do app, which has, title, description, its status can be pending, done, or archived. And then you can assign this to-do app, particular task to any of user in your system. It has when it was created, when it is updated. Very simple. If you go to prisma.io, Prisma is nothing but is an object relational management API for, talk to multiple databases with a simplified language. So if you see here, what I have defined, a model is nothing but the table. It actually translates into the database form into a table. I've defined it has a task ID, which is of integer type. It is the ID, unique means ID field of the table. And the default value is auto incremented. So like every time you create something, it auto increments. Then it has a title, which is nothing but the title of your to-do task. Then the description, which is optional. So there is some language which you can always go to prisma.io. I can show you also if you want to see in the detail. But anyways, then it is related to the user table. How it is related? It is related that assigned to ID is the reference to the ID of the user. So what we are trying to say, like every task can be associated with one of the user, right? And every user can have multiple tasks. So if you come to the user table, you see here we are saying it can have an array of to-dos. All right. This just line number 13 to line number 34 is the actual model, database model of your complete to-do app. It can have task, it can have creation, updation date, it can be assigned to a user, it has already users in it, it can have multiple status pending, done, and archive. Done. We have defined the to-do app. It if I have to type, I would have done in the same similar time as much time I took to explain. All right. So yeah. So let's do this. Godspeed. Okay. Now I want to generate the APIs around this database model. Very simple. You go Godspeed. Okay. Not create. gen CRUD API. So what is gen CRUD API command will do? It will generate the CRUD API's events and functions automatically for you around these two to do and the user model. Let's do this. When you do this, it is gonna ask you like which database you want to select, because you want to select the Postgres. So yeah. Now, if you go and see, it has inside the event, it has a Postgres folder which has to do and the user. Okay. These are the create, delete, fetch one, search, and update. So you have like 5 endpoint automatically created for your to-do app, and similarly for the user. And all these events have corresponding functions also. So if I go inside function com base Postgres, I have create YAML, one YAML, search, update. Okay. So we will talk about all these things later, but I want to show you the magic really fast. What I'm going to do. Okay. So I think most of you are aware of Postman. Postman is used to, consume these REST APIs. So we have a tool to generate Postman collection also. So we do Godspeed gen test suite. Okay, now you see there is one new folder got created, test, right? It has a test suite.json. Okay, I open my computer, open the Postman from the application. I say I want to create a new collection. I do this. Okay, so this is already here, but you can go to exact the your project folder and go inside the test. There will be a test suite.json. You say, all right, import this. I already had the similar name, so I'm gonna replace it. All right. So at this point, your whole backend for your to-do app is created. So, okay, you see, like I will show you everything, but what a to-do app backend will have, it will have an option to create to-dos. It will have an option to delete a particular to-do. It will have an API, an option, API to, update a particular to-do. Suppose you want to change the status of a to-do, then it will have option to create a new user, delete multiple, fetch multiple users, or even search users, right? So you see all 10 APIs are created in less than 5 minutes after the installation. That depends on your internet speed is done. Okay, now I want to see the how to run these APIs. So I go back to, you know, my VS Code again, clear everything. First thing I need to do is write Godspeed. Let me build it. It's a one-time process. You do it, and after that, you can just this is installing the npm dependencies. So just spare a few minutes, I would say. So I'll keep it here. We are connected to dev container. Meanwhile, I'll show you when it is happening. I'll show you how an event is defined. You don't have to write any code. You just define, okay, it's done anyways. But yeah, I'll open one of the event and what all you can do. So if you see the first key of the YAML file, so this is YAML configuration. What it does is it has the URL of your endpoint. So I want to have my all endpoint slash database slash the table name and then the type HTTP, because it also supports Kafka events in the same similar fashion, right? And then you type what kind of a method it is, post. Then I have summary, description, and what function is associated with this event, right? And if you see, it has two things. I will just minimize and this two things, body and responses. So it's about what this event consumes. If you want, this is open API specification. If you want, you can even define your whole schema here, and you can even define your validation, right? You don't want to create any user whose name start with A. So you can write all those validations also in this file. You don't have to do anything else. And then you define what kind of response will this particular event will send back to the user. So it says object. Anyways, we'll get back to that. Just our time is clicking. We want to show you how. Okay, so build is done. I'm gonna start the server. So for that, to run the development server, you have to do Godspeed dev. We do it. Okay, seems like everything is up and running. All right, what do you want to do first? You want to create a new user? Okay, let's do that. This is the base URL Postgres user API. If you go here, you see it also tells you like what exactly this API can have. It can have task of object type. It can have a string of username. So what username you want to create? Let's create Hack the Mountain. Okay. Uh, what? Some error. Why it got rejected? Okay, okay. It's a unique. I already created the Hack the Mountain. So yeah. So I wanna create Hack the Mountain underscore new, or maybe let's hack the mountains. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna create a new user. Hack the Mountains user is created. All right. Now what you wanna do? You want to create a new to-do app, to-do task. Let's create a new to-do task and assign this particular task to the user ID number 4, which we just created. If you see, his user ID is 4. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna assign a new task. Okay, let's define the title. So what is the task for Hack the Mountain? Rock the hackathon. So Hack the Mountains have to make sure that got the description, check it. Let's make it pending until 17th, if that is when the I am gonna delete create update, because there is a logic to write everything by itself. Says assign to ID. So I want to assign Rock the Hackathon to the user Hack the Mountains. Let's do this. All right. So there is no description. Status is still pending. It got created and it got assigned to the user number 4. Now you can say, I want to see on 17th or 17th, 18th, at the evening of 18th, you want to go and you want to just update the status of this thing, right? So what you will do, you go here for the task ID. What was the task ID which we created is 3. So for task ID 3, what you wanna do, you want to change the status on end of 17th to done maybe. Okay, done. Let's go to the user and fed all of his tasks for user number 4, which is Hack the Mountain. Yes, there is user, but you want to see the task of this user. So you want to join, like find on this users all the join. So that's very simple. You go here and you define a JSON. You say, sorry, you say include all the task to true. Means when I'm trying to fetch a user, I want to include all of his tasks also. So I do this. Includes, right? Okay. All right. Let me means see. Even I keep forgetting the thing, so I can just search how to include.
No, related.
Is it related?
Include first. Okay.
Huh. So yeah. So I have to do include tasks to true, right, Sama?
Yeah.
Okay. Am I missing something? But anyways, you got the idea, I think. You all got the idea. It's like your backend is ready. Now you might say, I want to see the whole documentation. This is the collection. I want to see the whole documentation for all the APIs. So anyways, JSON collection is an API, but we also auto generate the uh, documentation in open Swagger documentation. So how you can access this once your project is running, you go localhost and 3000 was the port which we have selected, and you go slash API docs. You come here and you see it has, oh, it has the old documents also, but yeah, it has all the Postgro. See, now your whole backend API is well documented, up and running in less than 10 minutes. What else do you need? Now you can just focus on making UI with React, making an app. So you are in the whole hackathon. You're going to spend less time building backends and more time, making your app work on. So yeah, that's it. That was the magic.
Thank you, Ashu and Samba.
All right. Oh, over to Ayush.
Yeah, so that's it from our side. And this is about building a backend in less than 10 minutes. Of course, excluding the time of the speed of your internet connection, that's obviously there. But let's say
Yeah.
if your internet is working fine, then you can create a new app as soon as you define your database model. That's the key to learn. And Ashu, there was a little glitch, I guess, in getting the uh, related data
Yeah,
during a
related
join
data. Yeah.
query.
Yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah.
if you read the Prisma documentation is the key. And listen to everyone attending this session, whether or not you know Godspeed, you should definitely know Prisma, right? And
Right.
everybody should know Prisma. It's one of the most famous projects for working with multiple databases. And this is what we leverage at Godspeed. And along with other things we do with Elasticsearch, which Prisma doesn't support. But if you just pick up Prisma, you should be able to do everything you need to do with any kind of backend that you need to make and working with all the SQL and NoSQL databases. So that's it about getting your project started. And Ashutosh, you already showed the Postman collection, right?
Yep.
Awesome.
Sorry, I
So
already
you,
stored it.
yeah, yeah, you showed the Postman collection, right? How to
Yeah,
generate the
yeah,
Postman collection, create the queries. So
right.
all of that is in place. So yeah, so in the hackathon, let me summarize now. So firstly, why should you use Godspeed? One, you should use Godspeed because in the hackathon, you will be able to build your product much faster and much better. It will have less bugs and you will have less glitches to work with. All right. Second, along with the high quality, you will have more focus on a front end development, which is the key to win in the hackathon as well, right? To create your project end to end without a problem. And apart from that, if for all the people who develop using Godspeed in the hackathon, we have some prizes. There are cash prizes. There are also credits for you to launch your startup on Godspeed. So Godspeed is being used by big enterprises in India and across the world already. Enterprises in India, in Singapore, in Germany, right? So they are already using Godspeed. So you can also benefit from the same. All right. So if you want to do a startup, tomorrow you will get credits up to 10 lakh rupees to launch a startup. Don't worry about your budget. Just go live with the idea you have. All right. This is our vision as Godspeed is to enable developers and startups from all across the world to make amazing products in no time at all. And without worrying about what's your technology, what's your experience, how big is your team and what's your budget. You can really bypass all those hurdles and make an amazing backend in no time at all. And we could not demo today of how even your backend that you create will be really observable. You can see how many people are coming onto your application, how many hits are you getting every second, what's the average response time, how many requests are failing, how many are succeeding. There are millions of teams across the world who don't even know how their backends perform in lifetime. So using Godspeed, you will be able to even monitor that how is your backend performing in real time. So that we'll cover for another video maybe. So yeah, over to you, Samriddhi.
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. Thank you for the wonderful demo today. It was very interesting, although I did not understand much of it. Okay. We don't have you explain. In fact, Ashutosh sir, you explained so well that we don't have any questions today, but we have a few comments also. Um, People who are thanking you for today's session,
Okay.
and yes,
Ah,
of
nice.
course, and of
Yeah,
course,
I also see. Mhm. So yes, Khushi and Ajay, Monica, Puneet, if you use Godspeed, all of you have the possibility of working with us as interns. You can get part of our internship. You can join us as interns if you deliver a good product using Godspeed. And there's also possibility of working with us in a job to take this forward to the whole world. So we are very successful with some big fintech firms in India and in Singapore. And if you want to join us, then it's a great opportunity to do well in Hack the Mountains Edition 3 and do very good in this project using Godspeed. And we have a great path together to explore in the coming time. Thank you so much, everybody in
yes,
the
sir.
Godspeed
Thank
team.
you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, sir.
Hack the Mountain. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we end, though, I would like to inform our viewers that for any other information regarding HTM, they can visit the links showing in the banner below, where they'll find everything related to our upcoming webinars, workshops, and offline sessions. And also that HTM is going to be the final hackathon is going to be conducted on 17th and 18th September. That is Saturday and Sunday at Manav Rishna International University, Faridabad, and we are hoping that we'll see all of you, and also that you will be using Godspeed to develop your backends. And honestly, it has a lot of incentives before to consider anything else, any other option at all even. And also we can also invite you on Discord, and you can also join us on Instagram for regular updates on hackathon. Coming to a close now, sir, would you like to add anything else before we end?
Yes, yes. So I'd like to add that for anybody who's interested in exploring Godspeed, please visit our website,
Ah, definitely.
godspeed.systems. And there's a documentation, there's a Discord channel. You can join there and start talking to us. And we are happy to help you out in any way possible. And if you become an expert in Godspeed, you have a lifetime opportunity to participate in our community run marketplace where you could offer your consulting services as a Godspeed consultant to the entire world. So you can help people build their backends very fast. Doesn't matter if it's a startup or it's a enterprise. You can work in both kind of projects and you can really deliver great value to people you work with. And we are
Definitely,
happy
sir.
to partner with you and also give you a possibility for an income source and a generation for lifetime where it's
Definitely.
independent of the jobs you go through and everything you do. So people can just learn Godspeed and become professional consultants and have a source of revenue and income generation for lifetime. So yeah, I would
Yes,
like
sir.
to conclude with that. Yes, thank you very
Sir,
much.
can you once again just repeat the website, Godspeed's website?
Yes, it is Godspeed dot systems.
Okay.
Systems system.
We'll put
Yes,
this in our
Godspeed dot
no,
system.
all the upcoming notifications also, and people can check you out whenever they want to. Okay. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much
you
for
so much,
today,
Samriddhi.
sir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, yeah.
Welcome, sir.
And
Thank you,
It was.
yeah,
Samriddhi.
everybody.
You have been a
Thank you,
great
sir.
Yeah,
host.
yeah.
It's been my pleasure, sir. Thank you, Samba, sir.
Thank you so
Um,
much.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Yeah. See
it
you.
has been
Thank
great
you.
to
Thank
connect with all you all, and we'll with that we would like to end today's session. Okay, okay,
All
bye,
right.
sir.